here on This Week in Wrestling. Eddie Edwards, newcomer, all set to take on Tony GANGSTA. Gonna be a great one. Right here on This Week in
Webster,
Wrestling.
shut up, Webster. It's time to ring announce. Quiet, quiet.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing first, from Cleveland, Ohio, weighing 207 pounds, Eddie Edwards. And his opponent, from New York City, weighing 201 pounds, Tony GANGSTA.
All right, thank you, Joe McHugh.
Now, I got one quick question. Are those rabbit ear antennas?
The young guns of wrestling Star Wars.
Are those rabbit ear antennas helping to get good reception for Tony GANGSTA? Is that the...
For crying out loud.
Well,
Eddie Edwards, Tony GANGSTA, ladies and gentlemen, the young guns of wrestling Star Wars waste no time from the opening bell. And Eddie Edwards out of Ohio, or as Knuckles Nelson so eloquently put, Ohio.
Well, I like Tony GANGSTA, but those bunny rabbit ear things on his head are not going to help in his toughness.
Well, you know, Halloween about 5 or 6 weeks away, and I don't know, maybe he's sporting a... Oh, no! He's not sporting anything but a devastating clothesline. And unfortunately, Eddie Edwards on the receiving end as GANGSTA goes right out after his opponent. Will you stop making fun of the guy? It's just his look, it's his style, it's his his thing.
Well, welcome to Wrestling Star Wars, Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, a not so welcoming welcome mat being laid out.
Well, this kid is out of the Killer Kowalski Institute of Pro Wrestling, trained by Slick Wagner Brown, and apparently, you know, he's got a lot of talent from what I've heard.
Irish whipping, and look at that. Nice maneuver right there by Edwards. Rolls his man up. No, GANGSTA very wisely. Oh, man, he hung on to those ropes, but then as he turned around, he said hello to a major kick right in the mush.
And Tony GANGSTA, as usual, showing that resiliency, kicking out. You know, Eddie Edwards has got a lot going against him here. He's new to the promotion, and also Tony GANGSTA is a fan favorite, Brian.
Why do you say that with such surprised disdain? Tony GANGSTA has been here for quite a while, and as a matter of fact, speaking of being here for quite a while, not only the promotion, he's been here in the building for quite a while because he's always one of the very first to arrive. A very dedicated young man.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
Sidewalk slam right there, and you were remiss in not mentioning that the quote-unquote rabbit ears came off of the head of Tony GANGSTA.
Well, while you were busy running your mouth, I noticed Eddie Edwards took the things off and then even said, take this stupid thing off your head.
Well, why didn't you call it?
Well, they're not.
Isn't that your job?
You don't need rabbit ears anymore. They have XM now.
Out of the mouth of Knuckles Nelson and into your living room here on the This Week in Wrestling Television Network. Ladies and gentlemen, quick cover, fails to hook the leg, and you're not going to beat your man like that. You might get somewhat of a psychological advantage, but it's not going to be something that is going to keep your opponent down, Mr. Edwards.
This is the young gun division here in Wrestling Star Wars, and I'll tell you, these guys can go with anything I've ever seen in the world right now, including Rey Mysterio Jr.
Looks like some of the tape from the ring ropes was left over, and Edwards decided to make a pair of pants.
Crowd solidly behind him, though, GANGSTA.
Surfboard style maneuver right now, and you can see the look of pain on the face of Tony GANGSTA. And let me tell you something. You want great camera work, you want to get up close and personal, this is the place to be. These guys, keeping a bird's eye view on things, are a very dedicated crew.
Boy, I'll tell you, the fans getting behind Tony GANGSTA seems to have helped him. Look at this.
Look at that. Nice maneuver right there by GANGSTA. Rolls this man up and almost schoolboyed them for a count of three. Uh-oh. And there is a spinning heel kick. And this guy really knows how to get it together inside the squared circle.
Now, how did his hair end up green like that? Would you say it was something he ate?
Well, you know, during the summer months, I know we've hit the fall, but during the summer months, if you normally have blonde hair, you do a lot of swimming in a chlorinated pool, that's what can happen to you. Whoa! Snap suplex right there, just like the Dynamite Kid. And he cannot hold on to his man, and some frustration starting to set in on Eddie Edwards. This kid is in really good shape, Knuckles.
Well, anyone that's in the young gun division has to be in top-notch physical condition.
Some familiar faces in the crowd here this week at the Combat Zone, and of course some new faces as well. We welcome each and every one of you in the arena. Oh no, he poked a man right between the eyes.
Well, there's Eddie Hunt. I see him right there. Look at that.
Wow, man. A little mistimed maneuver right there. Tony GANGSTA had good intentions, but the follow-through fell a little short.
Didn't go for a pin. Might have been a mistake. Look at this, inside cradle.
1, 2. Uh-oh. Misses. Nice kick right there into the midsection.
Going for a sailor pin.
A backslide, and he can't hold on. And a clothesline will slow down Tony GANGSTA. What a half hour we have had here on This Week in Wrestling. And next week, ladies and gentlemen, it is a star-studded This Week in Wrestling. Kid USA, he will be defending the New England Heavyweight Championship against Anthony Michaels, and one of my personal all-time favorites, B.A.D., Brian Day, will step through the rooms.
Well, Brian Day has very quietly worked his way right back up through the ranks, and you got to consider him the odds-on favorite to be the New England Heavyweight Champion at some point. Well, on size and strength anyway.
It's interesting that the two, Kid USA and BAD, will be on the same card next week, because Brian Day has been a little vocal about wanting a title shot, and I'm sure he will be keeping a very close eye on Kid USA during his title defense right here next week.
And Big Woody also had given me a note earlier in the program that he wanted to congratulate Brian and Heather, and they know what we mean.
Not to mention that next week is our 100th edition of This Week in Wrestling.
How have I ever made it 100 weeks without caving your head in? I don't know.
How we have made it 100 weeks without those plants that used to be in front of the broadcast desk, I'll never know.
Not to take away from this match, though. These guys are still going at it here. Look at that.
Nice. Nicely done right there by Tony GANGSTA.
I had those plants flown in special for you. Look at those shots by GANGSTA. Not really caring too much about the rules at this point.
Somehow you talking about plants being flown in just is not the time or place.
Talk
Thank
to
you.
Chuck Rotundi and Newburyport if you have any questions about that stuff. Look at this,
Indeed.
Brian.
Look out.
Acai moonsault.
Beautifully done by Tony GANGSTA. 1, 2.
Got him. Did he get him? Was that it? No, I guess that was a 2. I would have sworn Spider counted 3.
Wow.
You know, it seems to me that the referee may have counted 3 and then decided that it was a 2, and I give him a lot of credit for having the nerve to make that kind of a move.
Absolutely. The referee, as far as I'm concerned, has the toughest job in the ring, because he's got to see everything and call everything, and it's not as easy as some may think.
Nice continuation into a swinging neck breaker.
I'm telling you, these guys are the marquee names you will see headlining pay-per-views someday down the road. Mark my words.
As Shun Yamaguchi would say, Wrestling Star Wars is known for developing the young boys.
He does say that, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And from here to Japan, we've been known for that now for going on 3 years.
He also says to you quite often, I've heard, where's my 10 bucks? Uh-oh, for the ride goes Eddie Edwards, and he put his boot up right there. Oh, man, and right off the ropes, there is a big DDT, and like a dish rag, he rolls his man over. But no, GANGSTA, wow, you almost came out of your seat on that one. Calm down there, Stallion.
I'm impressed. I am very impressed.
Look at this. GANGSTA is completely out on his feet, Knuckles.
It just seems to me that when you get to this point in the matchup, what else is there to do? I mean, it seems that they both probably expended their arsenals. Look at this now. Eddie Edwards going to the top.
Moonsault, and nobody is home. However, it was completely beautifully done. Oh, no.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that execution, isn't there?
Absolutely. Reversal right now by Edwards. Look at this. Ah! He got him! Put him down, 1, 2, and there is your winner. Nicely executed finisher right there for...
Quiet, Wyatt! You have to know when to talk and when to let me do my ring announcing. You are watching This Week in Wrestling.